Hi everyone, Stepan here. White pieces today. I'm gonna play d4. Yesterday I managed to save a losing endgame, and it wasn't easy to do either. I don't know how I managed, but my opponent had winning chances, and it was well, he could have won. I actually showed the engine plan afterwards. But yeah, okay, let's focus on this one. I'm going to play the London because I want to play the London. I actually started playing knight f3 on move 2 to decide whether I'm going to play the London or not, to see if they play e6. Okay, now my opponent is going for the Queen's Indian setup, so now they may go for bishop d6, which can be annoying. And in many positions, I prefer playing bishop e2 here. But now I'm going to go bishop d3. Both can be played. Bishop e2 actually has the idea to simply play bishop f3 after knight e5, and it's not a bad idea because often this bishop is better than white's bishop, especially if black delays castling. But it seems that we are going to go into a normal reti, so this is now a very standard position where actually I would prefer to have my bishop on e2, because sometimes if black manages to force through e5 and e4, as may well be the case here, my bishop can be a tempo gain. Okay, so now I'm going to go h3 just to make sure that he doesn't have any ideas of knight h5. For the moment, my g-pawn is still hanging if I move my knight, so I could castle, which means that my g-pawn is defended. I could play knight bd2 with the idea of knight c4, but I would actually prefer to play a4 and knight a3. So for now I'm just going to castle. I'm expecting bishop e7. And if they go bishop e7, okay, I'm going to go a4 with the idea of knight a3 and knight c4 or knight b5. Now that they've played a6, which is correct, I'm going to go knight a3. And knight c4, especially in conjunction with queen b3, can be extremely annoying. The reason why you play knight a3 instead of knight d2 is because in some cases after e5 e4 you want to have the d2 square for the f3 knight. Okay, now I have a decision to make. I'm gonna take with the e-pawn because that keeps my pawn structure a bit more fluid on the queen side. That's where I have the majority. If some of the central pawns get traded off. Also, it gives me the option to put pressure on the e6 pawn on the e-file as well. I'm sorry about the people. I'm not home today, and I'm not alone in the house. Okay, if I go knight c4, what can black do if not queen b8 or knight e8? If queen b8, I can go queen b3, but then bishop d5. Knight c4 is an aggressive move that can be defended against. Let me just check if everything is okay with the video, just a second. I actually find it pretty strange that there is no humming noises coming from the fan of my laptop. Everything should be okay. I did clean it again 2 days ago, so maybe I managed to get some hidden dust out. Queen e2 seems like a natural move. But I'm not sure what I'm doing on e2 with my queen. I'm preventing rook c8, which is always nice, but other than that, it seems like a move you'd play just to make a move. What's black going to do? Okay, so Jakob Agart's 3 questions. If you don't know what to do in the early middle game or in the middle game, where are the weaknesses? What's the worst placed piece? And what's my opponent's idea? I think the queen is misplaced. The knight on a3 is actually okay, I think. I don't think I have any weaknesses. I think black has a weakness on d6 and on b6. But knight c4 doesn't really do much. And what's my opponent's idea? I think rook c8. Or maybe knight d5. Again, I don't see what knight d5 does. I'm going to just move my bishop away. So for now, I think I'll leave my queen away from the queen side and just look at this pawn. I mean, I wasted too much time on a decision like this, but I don't really want to be playing moves like knight c4 unless there's something concrete. Okay. And the queen is also actually useful looking at the e6 pawn. But now knight c4 becomes a bit stronger because queen b8 is the only way to respond to that, I think. What else can he do if not queen b8? Because I'm gonna go knight d6 even if d5 is played, I think. Yes, I am. I just win the exchange. So black plays, so knight c4, queen b8. Yeah, the fans are starting to run up now, so maybe I jinxed it. So knight c4, queen b8 is forced. And then I can start developing my rooks. I could also consider rerouting my knight towards the king side now that the rook has vacated the king side. Also, knight b8 seems strange. I thought queen c7 wasn't a good move. Although I don't know why. Why did I think black has to play queen b8? I have no idea. I could consider knight g5. But I don't really want to play knight g5. I think rook e1 makes a lot of sense. Because in some positions I could play knight g5, knight f7, and this also develops a piece. Still, rook c8 is hard to play. Because I can probably just play knight e3. Okay, preventing knight g5. That's probably smart. But h6 actually does create further weaknesses. h6 has to be a weakening move. So now I'm thinking, maybe I go knight d2 and go knight h2, knight g4. Or maybe knight h2 first. What's my knight doing on f3? My knight on f3 isn't doing anything, but on g4, it seems aggressively placed. Can I do something more useful before playing knight d2? I could consider knight fd2 into e4 with the simple idea of putting triple pressure on the pawn. Huh, that's actually interesting. But he can just go b4, b5. No, I don't like knight d2, knight fd2, knight e4. Knight h2 is interesting. I think I'm gonna go knight h2 because I've prevented e5. I don't see a reason to keep that many guys on. Ooh, maybe queen c6. Yeah. Okay. So now let's go knight cd2 as I had intended. I just want to bring my pieces closer to the king side. I mean, my bishops look nice. If I can play knight df3 and bishop d2, then I can certainly prepare some sacrifices, I feel. Maybe I can even start with knight g4. By the way, black is playing a very normal hedgehog, and I don't know what to call my position. It looks like it came from a French. Okay. So he does play queen c6. I definitely don't want to play f3. If I go knight df3, can they go e5? e5 takes, pawn takes. Yes, they can. So I actually have to be afraid of e5. I may play queen f1 to get away from e5 altogether. So if I go knight df3, then e5, d5, d5. Bishop g3, e4, winning. So they have to play queen f1. And I don't actually mind having my queen on f1, because e5 is going to happen, so why not move my queen away? Knight h5 runs into bishop e4, I think. Although after d5 I don't have bishop f3 because of knight f4. So no, I would have to play bishop e3 first. Okay, e5 played. I'm gonna take once and go bishop e3. Okay, bishop c2 seems forced. How can I get my a-rook into play? That's the thing that worries me. I actually don't mind knight takes e3 because it opens up the light squares. But I don't know how to get my other rook into play. So I think I'm gonna go rook ad1. But then my pawn is hanging. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm gonna go knight g4 because I have to activate this knight. If they want to take on e3, I'm gonna recapture with the knight. I'm not afraid of f5 because on f5 I can take on c5 and go knight e3 and then pin with bishop b3. And also on f5 I can just take it, but yeah, I can just take it. Also, once I play b4, I could go queen d3, which will definitely provoke further weaknesses. Which is why I think my knight on g4 is actually good. If they go h5, I can go bishop c5 and knight e3. Because the knight on c5, strangely enough, covers the light squares because it prevents queen d3. Of course, playing queen d3 without the knight on e3 could be suicidal because I'm leaving g2 undefended. Seems like he just wanted the bishop pair, so he played his last few moves, just forcing my bishops away. But I think getting the knights away from the king side could be risky, especially if they take on e3. Because playing g6 simply loses the h6 pawn with check. And if you can imagine my knight, his knight leaving c5 and my queen getting to d3. e4 is possible, g6 is possible, f5 is possible, but none of them I think work. If h5, I think I go bishop c5. I actually like b4. I think getting the knight out first was correct, but b4 seems very hard to meet. Unless they have knight e6, knight g5, where I have to take on g5 to try to mate on h7, but or I don't know, I like b4. He's thinking a long time. Of course, I will inevitably lose the c3 pawn at some point if I go b4. So if I don't cause permanent damage, b4 is a bad idea. But since my knight on g4 is preventing knight f6, so for example b4, knight d7, queen d3. If knight f6, I can go knight f6 check and mate on h7. So I don't see an easy way to defend. Against b4. Now that my knight is on g4. I don't know. I think it's a very double-edged position, and he's threatening mate in 1 if I move my queen or play g3 or gh. But I'm actually threatening mate in 2 in many positions, and it's pretty forcing after b4. So I think tactically we both have to be very careful. Okay, he took. I think I take with the knight. Now I'm actually feeling very secure because I can move my queen away without any consequences. And actually b4 I think is even better now, because I don't have to worry about queen g2. There is, however, the option, okay, I'm actually pretty happy to see that, because not only does this prevent my idea with queen d3, but it also prevents all of black's attacking ideas. So black was very afraid of queen d3. So now b4 should simply lose a pawn in the long run. I don't think knight d3 is possible because I just take on e4, and if queen e4, then bishop d3. Ah, no, it actually is possible. So knight d3 is possible. I have to be careful. I think it's time to play a5 and get rid of my weakness on a4. That will give me the option to go rook d1, rook a d1. But it secures the c4 square for him. Knight d3 is annoying. I still have one move, I can take it now, but if I take it, I lose the knight, because if knight d3, bishop d3, e d3, queen d3, then rook e3, and after queen e3, queen g2 mate. So I cannot take the knight on d3. Basically, I cannot take the knight. So, what can I do? If I cannot take the knight, what do I do? I can always get my knight into d4, because my knight isn't doing anything on d2 now. But I lose my my a4 pawn in the process, so I'm gonna play a5 first. And I'm expecting b5, and then I'm gonna go knight b3. If they go knight d3 straight away, I can go rook b1. And that should still be okay. Again, I never want to take the knight on d3. At least this way I'm not going to drop my pawn. And after knight b3, knight d4, which is a tempo on the queen, my knight is way more active. I think with knights on d4 and e3, I compensate fully for the bishop pair. In fact, I think bishop takes d4 is something black should go for. So if I'm black, even though I have knight d3, I would seriously consider taking on b3 because knight d4 is coming. This also covers f5 one more time. And after knight d4, okay, I'm gonna go knight d4, I think, and then I'm going to go rook b1. Wait, after the queen moves, I can actually take this pawn. I didn't consider that, unless they go queen g6, which defends the pawn and threatens mate. Yeah, queen g6. The best move has to be. So I think rook b1 seems forced. I don't want to take the knight. I simply cannot take the knight because I open up the bishop. Even if I could win a pawn, I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm going to allow the take back. He obviously wanted rook e5. Even if he does go rook g5, does that threaten something? No, I think he wants to play f5. I think that's the point. I think f5 is the move. But on f4, I think I can go knight g4. So I think I'm gonna be preventing f5 with bishop b3. I think that's sensible. And also my bishop isn't doing anything on c2, so... If rook h5, I can go king h2 or probably king h2 to get away from the dark squares. Oh, sorry, king h1 to get away from the dark squares. Okay, I still don't understand what that does. He isn't threatening anything. So okay, I'm gonna try... I have to try something. But I don't know what. I think f3 is definitely the move I would like to play, but I'm very scared to play it. I wanted to go bishop d5, but it's still covered twice. I wanted to go c4, but it undefends my knight, so I don't want to go c4. And I have to get my rook into play somehow. I don't know what to do. I definitely don't like my position. I want to play rook e2, but that's a very strange move. The reason I want to play rook e2 is so that I can go rook d1. I think I'm going to do it, but it also defends laterally, so in the future when I move my bishop and play b3 or b4, it means that I'm defending f2 some more and g2. Okay. That's a sensible idea. Now I don't want to defend with knight c2. Definitely not. Although I could play knight c2. But no. I shouldn't play knight c2. I need to play b3 and c4. So if they want to take, that's okay. I think I'll go bishop d1 simply and try and defend that way. I need to open up my other rook. And I'm gonna try to play f3. Okay. I think I had to defend against this, because I couldn't play the other rook, the other knight into c2. Threatening knight h3 check. Okay, I have to move my king. No, he can just go knight g2 afterwards. I'm an idiot. I didn't see knight g2. Of course I cannot take with the knight, because my rook is hanging. Yeah, they just have knight g2. Yeah, okay, I'm going to resign. I just played like an idiot. I played like an idiot. This is very upsetting for me. I'm sorry, but I played very poorly. I played without a plan, and I played a bunch of random moves which didn't do anything. And I ruined a position which was okay. Here's where it started. I just moved my pieces around like an idiot. This is one of my worst games on the channel. And my opponent played perfectly. He played incredibly well, like an engine. I'm not saying that he used an engine, I'm saying that he played incredibly well. He played incredibly well. Okay, congratulations to my opponent. He played very well, I played very poorly. Okay, I'm actually going to have a look at this in detail later with someone who's much better than me, because I struggle in positions like this where it's hard to find the plan. So coming back to move 16, what? I started playing weird moves. Move 15. I played knight h2 and then knight d2. I just moved all of my good pieces onto poor squares. Okay, I'm going to study this game in detail. Thank you for watching. Sorry for the game. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye bye.